The FBI begins criminal investigation into Baltimore bridge collapse. I am Constance Mega. The Rivers State government has officially launched its health insurance program for the public sector known as the Contributory Health Insurance Protection Program, CHIP. While speaking at the launch of the program today, Governor Siminalayi Fubara said the scheme will offer households a measure of financial protection against healthcare costs. He also inaugurated the Comprehensive Primary Health Center in Ndoni Town, Ogba Egbema, Ndoni local government area, and charged members or managers of the Contributory Health Insurance Scheme to be unbiased while administering the scheme.
What I'm saying here, we didn't make any mistake ensuring that the health insurance program commenced the state. With this, those families cannot afford expensive health care services outside the privilege. This free service is not for me to also add that while we are doing this, it shouldn't be taken for granted. It should use properly funds that will be satisfied properly.
On her part, the acting executive secretary of the Rivers State Contributory Health Insurance Protection Program, Dr. Vetty Agala, said her team is ready to start enrolling residents from the 23 local government areas of the state.
So, Your Excellency, we want to say thank you for graciously permitting and approving that the Rivers State Contributory Health Protection Program be implemented, and so Rivers people can indeed access healthcare without having to pay at the point of service. And all of our vulnerable population of 5 years can walk into this health center, show their card, and be attended to free of charge. Today we are starting at Ndoni, but in the days to come, we will go around the 319 points of the 23 local government areas of Rivers State.
Well, our correspondent reports that the governor became the first to be enrolled on the scheme, followed by his deputy, Ngozi Aldu. Well, as you may know, the Rivers State Contributory Health Protection Program Bill was signed into law on 21st June 2021, but was never implemented until Governor Fubara reactivated it. In the meantime, the Rivers State chapter of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria is requesting the state government to relocate all primary health workers from local government areas back to the state under the Rivers State Primary Healthcare Management Board. The state chairman of the union, Sebastian Wanyawu, made this appeal during a visit to Kinikawo Green, the executive secretary of the Rivers State Primary Healthcare Management Board. But Mr. Wanyawu also urged the state government to implement the consolidated health salary structure for primary healthcare workers in the local government areas, among other demands.
Wholeheartedly thank His Excellency Comrade Sir Siminalayi Fubara for graciously approving the national minimum wage implementation in the LGAs. Although the implementation was done grudgingly but highly been disputed against, as an officer on grade level 10 in LGA and same officer in LGAC does not earn the same amount. Union humbly appeal to His Excellency to consider state PAC workers with but working in LGA for 2023 Eastbound bonus of 100,000. Furthermore, we to request that government should look into the poor shortage of manpower created due to retirement and death.
Well, on his part, the special envoy for primary health care at the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria in Rivers State, Arafat Letam Wibani, said he hopes Governor Siminalayi Fubara will keep his promise to relocate all primary health workers from local governments back to the state, noting that a law was enacted by the State House of Assembly in 2010 to support this move. While responding, the executive secretary of the State Primary Healthcare Management Board, Dr. Green, said Governor Fubara is focused on primary health care in the state.
Present governor is poised to ensuring that primary health care indeed gets to the next level. He is really focused on primary health care. So that is why, in terms of promotion, he has graciously approved that promotion, and of course implementation has started. You've mentioned here that there is some form of staggering in terms of implementation. We will interface with the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria to ensure homogeneous compliance of the promotion and all that.
In another development, the State Commissioner for Information, Joe Johnson, has charged local government chairmen to take responsibility for the state of the health care centers and schools in their councils. He said the primary schools will get the needed attention from Governor Fubara's administration. Mr. Johnson spoke on Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire today.
The local government chairman or the local councils should take the blames of what's happened in the various local governments. But that's not even an excuse. The fact remains that we are trying to take all the challenges sectorally. We have looked at it, and as a council, I'm sure that the governor also has an approach to be able to touch a few of the patches that we need to do in health, in education, security, and the rest of it. And I'm sure that the primary schools will get attention.
Well, speaking on the relationship between the council chairman and Governor Fubara, Mr. Johnson said the government will not rely on the chairman to perform its duties to the state.
I'm saying it does appear that they're beginning to retrace their steps. And if that continues, it will create a very buoyant atmosphere for the governor and the council chairman to hobnob on what would happen in the local government, particularly where the schools are situated, to be able to produce better results. So I want to think that there must be a synergy. The governor is the chief executive of the state. He's not relying on them.
In the meantime, chairman of Emoha local government area, Chidi Lloyd, has slammed former River State Governor Peter Odili for endorsing Governor Siminalayi Fubara as the leader of the PDP in the state. But Dr. Lloyd said he expected the former governor to advise both Governor Fubara and the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, to sheath their swords. He spoke on Channels Television.
You see, it does appear that whoever is in office is told the same story. When it comes to very revered elders like this, the things I ordinarily would have said, I'm careful not to say them. What one expects is for our great-grandfather to call two of his sons in a room and ask them to sheath their sword. That's what elders do. That is what I think elders should do. And not to come and dangerously take side and polarize the state unnecessarily.
But Dr. Lloyd also debunked reports that the PDP in the state is divided, and he described those he said were causing crisis in River State as internally displaced politicians.
Well, I'd like to say this to you clearly, that the camp in River State is not divided. We are one strong family under the leadership of the Minister for the Capital Territory. You recall that at several fora, the governor of River State has referred to the Minister of FCT as his organ, and nothing has changed. You see, what is going on in River State is very unfortunate, that a lot of internally displaced politicians who do not have the guts to face the minister have become suddenly envious of the rising profile of the minister.
Elsewhere, the president of the Coalition of Rivers Youth Movement, Innocent Onuwo, has criticized Legbosi Yamabana for his remarks against the former Chief of Staff, River State Government House, Emeka Woke. While speaking at a media briefing, Mr. Onuwo said that he had hoped Mr. Yamabana would encourage the state government to showcase its projects and programs aimed at development. He said Mr. Yamabana's outburst shows the lack of understanding of political activities and governance in the state in the past 9 months.
It's unfortunate that Mr. Legbosi Yamabala has continually displayed his ignorance on political activities of River State just to gain cheap relevance. I expect them to face the fact instead of being diversionary. Legbosi Yamabala said Chief Honorable Chukwuemeka Oke should apologize to the government. Apology for what, if I ask? Look at governance in action in other sister states like Delta State, Enugu, and Abia State with low IGR. Here in River State, what we get as Rivers people is empty promises of what they will do instead of delivering the dividends of democracy to the people of River State.
Well, Mr. Onuwo also advised the state governor to concentrate on governance and stop what he termed the jamboree in the name of Thanksgiving for the overall interest of the state.
Here in Rivers State, our government is almost 1 year now, and what we get as Rivers people is reckless spending of taxpayers' money on celebrations of Thanksgiving on daily basis. We, as a youth movement in Rivers State, want to advise the government of Siminalayi Fubara to move away from panic measure and deliver on its campaign promises to Rivers people. Rivers people are desirous of change.
Elsewhere, the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, has been suspended by members of his ward, the Ganduje ward in Dawakin Tofa local government area of Kano State. The executive council of Ganduje ward, led by Haruna Agwanjo, said the former governor has to clear his name of corruption allegations regarding his long-standing dollar case in which he was seen in a viral video receiving worths of dollars in cash in 2017. Still to come, Rivers civil servants doubts government will accept 615,000 wage demand. Stay tuned.
This is to inform the general public that Igbo One United Youths Association, the apex umbrella youth body of Igbo Mbamishi, comprising of Umakuru, Edegalem, Ime, Chokota, Ikurengwo, and Umwebulu in Eche local government area of Rivers State, have successfully elected and inaugurated her executives after years of running caretaker. They are as follows: Engineer Onoabuchi Azuna, President; Mr. Wosu Print Onyema, Vice President; Mr. Kenneth Nwala, General Secretary; Comrade Godpower Nawe, Assistant General Secretary; Mr. Smart Nwalezi, Media and Publicity Secretary; Mr. Obed Enyinaya, Treasurer; Mr. Handsome Kelechi Elebe, Financial Secretary; Comrade Samson Courage, Director of Socials; Mr. Jonathan Azubike, Auditor 1; Comrade Precious Mugu, Auditor 2; Mr. Jonathan Wankwo, Provost. Signed, God knows Anele JP, Caretaker and Eleco Chairman for Eleco. The attention of the Greater Port Harcourt City Development Authority has been drawn to the activities of some individuals trying to disrupt activities at the Greater TAF site of the ongoing 20,000 low-cost housing development by the River State government along Professor Tam David West Boulevard. The authority hereby states that any individual with genuine claim should forward such to the authority on or before the 22nd of April.
News. A security analyst, Charles Nkotaria, is calling for more collaboration between the police and the public to combat crime in Rivers State. Well, Mr. Nkotaria spoke in an interview with correspondent Emiko Tuka while reacting to the recent kidnap of a journalist in Port Harcourt last week. He highlighted the alarming number of unreported security threats, especially kidnapping, in the state.
We know that in recent time, the present Commissioner of Police is putting in so much effort and achieving some results, but the results are not sufficient enough considering the increasing security threats in the state. In as much as there are results of achievements in the Rivers State Police Command, but we believe that the citizens need to participate effectively, need to come in the security of life and property, need to close rank with the security agents, need to create synergy with the security agents, to do better than it is now.
Well, as you may know, a Channels television reporter, Joshua Rogers, was kidnapped near his residence in Port Harcourt on Thursday and freed at about 10 p.m. on Friday. In other news, a professor of law at the River State University, Richard Wokocha, says law graduates in Nigerian universities are conferred with a Bachelor of Law, LLB, upon completing their studies. In an interview with our correspondent, Professor Wokocha said there are no provisions for a Bachelor of Science, BSc, in this field in Nigeria.
The BSc is Bachelor of Science. You can't have BSc in law. So universities overseas have BA, Bachelor of Arts in Law, but never Bachelor of Science. You can never have BSc in law. National Open University's correspondence program, definitely the degree they award is not BSc in law. There is no such thing. In Nigeria, you have LLB, which is Bachelor of Laws. There is no other degree awarded in Nigeria in the area of law.
Well, Professor Wokocha also expressed concern that some graduates, including law graduates, struggle to speak basic English well.
It should be a thing of concern because from primary to tertiary level, you study in English language. There are people with some level of defect which manifests even when they are graduates, while they are undergraduates in the university and when they are graduates. But it cannot be to a very large degree for a person who has managed to pass all the exams you have to pass through the university. Sometimes you also have people who have defects manifesting more in spoken English than in written English. It's because what you can write, you can speak. So ordinarily, it should be more the other way around. But you do have occasional slight differences, and people cannot be to the extent that they can hardly express themselves.
Well, as you may know, social media users have been divided after a popular pastor, Paul Eninchi, accused a church member of lying during her testimony. Well, the woman, who struggled to express herself in English, claimed to have received a BSc in law from the National Open University of Nigeria on Saturday. Some civil servants in Rivers State have expressed doubts that the federal government would accept the demand by the organized labor for a new minimum wage to be set at 615,000 naira. In an interview with our correspondent, the civil servants acknowledged the potential relief the amount would provide following the high cost of living, but questioned whether the federal government would implement it.
600 and something thousand actually is a good one, but I don't think the federal government will be able to sustain it, although considering the economic reality of the nation too. So as a civil servant I speak from, it's a good one if they should pay it to me, but it will be impossible.
As much as, yes, the minimum wage should be increased, going from 30-something thousand to 600, you should just ask for something realistic. Ask for something that can be improved on gradually.
That good life that our National Assembly members, our politicians enjoy, it is equally good for workers also. So when you juxtapose it with what the so-called elites and politicians enjoy, you see that they're not asking for much.
It's laughable because I know that the government will never agree with them with this.
Well, as you may know, the organized labor is demanding 615,000 naira as the new minimum wage for workers to cope with the economic hardship in the country.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
The FBI has opened a criminal investigation into the Baltimore bridge collapse. The investigation will examine the circumstances leading up to the incident in which 6 people were killed. Recall that on 6th March, the bridge fell after it was struck by a large container ship called the Dali, where federal agents are said to have been present at the site since then. And that's the news, but before we go, let's take a look at the highlights. On the news this evening, you heard that the Rivers State government has launched its health insurance scheme. And the Rivers State Commissioner for Information has charged council chairmen to fix health centers and schools in their areas. Chairman of Emoha local government area, Chidi Lloyd, has slammed former Governor Odili for backing Governor Fubara's administration. The Rivers State civil servants are doubting if the federal government will accept the 615,000 naira wage demand by organized labor. And on the foreign scene, the FBI has opened a criminal investigation into the Baltimore bridge collapse. But that was the news. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I am Constance Mega. Thank you for listening.